as time progresses, you'll be able to also understand things and let me know at the end of the session today. Right. And then let's take a look at what is happening in terms of smart farming. So there's a lot of relationship with agri-tech and smart farming. So let's look at how India is modernizing agriculture for a sustainable future. Okay, so as you can see, there are a lot of startups today within the agri-tech industry itself that is currently working with the ministry, with the digital agriculture in terms of digitalizing the entire agriculture industry. So what is happening right now? It's the gap that's being closed. So all this while there was a gap between the entire process of the agriculture, how farmers were able to do things on a very traditional way, and things were very much the old style. But then saying that with the enhancement of technology and with the help of startups, and of course, when you talk about technology, we're also looking at AI, artificial intelligence. So how can AI ensure or enhance the entire agri-tech and smart farming? All right. So as you can see, the image here, the picture here tells you that within a control of your iPad or a tablet, everything can be done. Even a typical farming process can be done. Monitoring, making sure the climate is sufficient, and with the technology that's enabled, things are a lot more faster. All right. So think about what are the things that are slowly being optimized today. So if you look at resources, do we have all those resources? Do we have skillful people to manage the entire process? Okay. And with the help of AI, and AI is able to come up with the farming tools and technology and the solution, what is next? So I believe the Indian government has looked at many initiatives, and with the help of what I mentioned earlier about the digital agriculture mission, things are changing slowly. So at the end of the day, it goes back to one word: adaptability. Adaptability to be able to ensure sustainability is there with the transformation of the agriculture innovation. And as we are looking at the slide, I also want you to do a little bit of reflection here. The reflection here has got a lot of relationship with what exactly is smart farming. Do we really rely on IoT? So IoT is internet technology, and we also need to look at the drones. What kind of drones are we looking at? So IoT, Internet of Technology, with the AI, artificial intelligence, with the drones that's being captured, can it help with productivity? All right. So with the utilization of all this technology, what's happening to the crops today? What is happening to the entire farming process? And the end of the day, besides the whole monitoring process, what else is important? So there are a lot of things or a lot of processes that are being used today to make sure technology drives sustainable in a better way. So analytics is also being used today. I believe some of you know what's analytics and you have used it before. So with data analytics and with using the right software, and being able to monitor the end-to-end process right from the beginning, how raw materials are there, how do we maintain it up to the level where we are able to transport to the local vendors, to the local farmers, or even to the local markets for that matter. How does it work on an end-to-end basis? All right. Of course, the end of the day, we are also looking at sustainability, where we want to make sure water reduction is there, fertilizer usage is minimized, and the end of the day, we want to make sure things are more on an organic perspective. And besides the idea of global warming, climate change, we also want to look at how it can lower the impact of our environment today. So as you are reading the news today or on social media, as you're reading, you will realize there's a lot of things that are being changing in terms of the whole agriculture industry along the way. All right. So another question that I want you to think about, a reflection question which you can share on the meeting chat. How can IoT sensor? So what is IoT? Internet of Technology. IoT sensor networks be used to reduce the water wastage in irrigation systems. So as you can see, with the technology and with IoT in place, things are changing. But I want to hear from each and one of you. So if you would be able to actually share your answers on the meeting chat, it would be really, really good.
Dear participants, due to technical glitch, Dr. Janitha lost her network. Give us few minutes. She is trying to log in again. The session will continue. In a couple of minutes, she'll log in again.
Okay, so sorry everyone. I kind of lost connection, my Wi-Fi, and also my electricity went off for a moment. My apologies to everyone. All right. Okay, in Malaysia right now in Kuala Lumpur, it's raining cats and dogs. So please bear with me. Thank you so much for your understanding. All right, so where were we earlier? We were in terms of answering a question. Yeah? Okay, so let's go back to the same question again in order to understand whether we are able to answer it accordingly. Right, so let's look at the question. Okay, so the question was on about what you guys think about how or what agri-tech innovations have the highest potential to improve climate resilience? Was this the question? Okay, so may I get some answers from the audience? Will it be possible? Acceptance. Okay, so we stopped here on how can IoT sensor networks be used to reduce water wastage in irrigation systems. All right, I'm so sorry about earlier, but let's look at how or what you think your answers could be for how can IoT sensor networks be used to reduce water wastage in irrigation systems. Any answers would be great if you could please share your answers on the meeting chat. Okay, there's no right or wrong answer. Whatever that crosses your mind. How can IoT sensor networks be used to reduce water wastage in irrigation systems? Okay, we've got some very good answers indeed. Thank you so much for the answers, and please keep coming with more answers. The sensor can be used to monitor soil. Very good answer. Madura has mentioned about real-time monitoring, environmental conditions, soil health. Yes, absolutely. Very good answers. IoT can be used as drip irrigation, solar power. Yes. Okay, any more answers from the audience? Okay, thank you for your answers. And if you happen to have any more answers, please do share. Okay, so some of you have mentioned about solar panel and couple of monitoring systems and all that. Absolutely right with your answers. But what other things that you think IoT sensor networks can do? Okay, so as you're thinking about your answers, you can always share it on the meeting chat. Right. Let's move on with GTI. So GTI has been taken into consideration in many ways, especially there's a current trend of focus in terms of GTI. So in terms of GTI itself, what does it mean? It means green technological innovation. So for example, in terms of our climate smart practices that we're using right now, farming, and also in terms of ensuring there's a lot of progress in terms of a innovation part, this is where one of the fundamentals or concepts of GTI has been looking at how the changing or the transformation in terms of our current footprints. So when you talk about our current footprints, we're looking at global emission, we're looking at carbon emission, we're looking at ecological footprints. What is next? So recently there was a study some time ago, in 2 years ago, where there's a lot of relationship between ICT and also GTI. How is able to work hand in hand and how each other is able to rely on each other. So this is where, of course, with the element of GTI, we still need to go back to policies and processes in place. Okay. And also in terms of ICT, what kind of technology are we able to use to synchronize the work hand in hand? And also, how does this work in terms of the finance processes? So there are a lot of concepts, there are a lot of processes, policies to be looked at even before or understanding the entire green technological innovation. So today, as you can see, we are all going green. Sustainability is very important. How are we able to reduce cutting down trees today, minimize usage of the idea of plastics? What else can we use? What kind of cutleries can we use in terms of biodegradable? In terms of our necessity products, how are we able to link it with a lot of GTI as well? So as we are approaching with GTI, understanding the changes in terms of the climate, biodegradable products, what else is next? So there's something called as DRD. DRD is actually known as a digital rural development. So whatever that happens in a typical rural industry in terms of the digital infrastructure, what is changing? And in terms of what is changing, we also want to understand how it has a lot of relationship with sustainability, sustainable innovation, and all that. So from the picture, you'll be able to understand that back in China, okay, there was a recent development where in China itself, when it comes to productivity in terms of agriculture, how were they able to bring in integration? So this integration brings in the idea of models. Of course, we're also concerned about financing things accordingly, bringing in collaboration, and how is it that we are able to work hand in hand. So even in China, DRD has been in place with the idea of changing the entire agriculture productivity. All right, so as you can see from the picture with the machineries that's being used and the number of employees there monitoring, working hand in hand, this is all about the idea of how China is able to implement DRD. And China is not the only country that looks at DRD. It has merged or emerging countries are also looking at DRD. So they're bringing in models and concepts to integrate with DRD with the help of the local government to ensure that it's produced effectively. And as we are looking at the other parts of the slide, we also want to emphasize a little bit here. So as you can see today, banks, organizations, United Nations are also encouraging a lot of people to promote digital transformation, to bring in sustainability, to create that awareness globally. So as you can see with our sustainable goals out there and bringing in the World Bank, for example. So the role of World Bank. So World Bank plays a very important role with the contribution, and they have consistently been a support system for the farming future in Malaysia itself. So with the help of World Bank, agriculture sustainability within the farming of the future, the projects are being done in a very collective way, and the outcome seems to be very, very positive. All right. Another thing that we also want to focus here is how are we able to bring in different levels of initiative. So there's one part where it says about ASEAN Smart Agriculture Initiative. So there's a lot of things that the Southeast Asian countries that are working together to bring in regional collaboration. So one of it, of course, technology adaptation. How many of us are able to adapt to the changes of technology? And how do we understand in terms of the policies that's being done today? All right. So policy, research, agriculture works hand in hand, especially when you have the proper model support system, as well as making sure that the entire sustainability is progressing properly as well. So these are not just the organizations that are focusing on initiatives of support. There are so many out there. Even United Nations have gone the extra mile to look at this. And there are more and more organizations that are looking at how they are able to create an impact to sustainability and agriculture as well. So as we are looking through the slides, there are a couple of things as an academic and as a practical implication to understand how or to what level are our future study. All right. So as we are exploring this topic, contemporary agri-tech, there are certain intersections that we need to also look at. For example, one of the very concerning or alarming intersection that has been a concern for over the years during the evolution of sustainability till today, one of the intersections, like what I mentioned, is all about literacy. So, to what level digital literacy has an enhancement? To what level it contributes to the policy, the frameworks, all right? And also, the end of the day, it goes back to the government concern as well. How much government brings in awareness and also empowerment. What kind of empowerment? We're looking at community empowerment. And also, when you talk about empowerment, there are certain trending areas to focus on, which will be known as sustainable agriculture. So, how do we make sure that everybody puts their hands together to scale things accordingly, especially in terms of the agriculture? So, besides that, of course, stakeholders, they play a very important role. Okay. Why? Because the end of the day, without the stakeholders, things will be very, very slow. Things will be very, very stuck to a certain level. So this is where some of the key components or policies to be taken into consideration when it comes to agri-tech, it comes to sustainability is adaptability. So earlier today when I asked some of you the questions in regards to the adaptability and learning models, how are we able to use it together? So there are things where we need to also understand what is happening in terms of our ecological. So ecological itself plays an important role, and bringing in ethical consideration with the learning models are practical things to be taken into consideration as well. So if you can put the academic and practical implications together to further enhance today's topic, you will be able to look at things on a wholesome view. And besides that, what are the alarming, or I would say more of a challenging areas to look at? And also, what are the opportunities that we are able to look at? So there are certain things that we are very, very concerned today. All right. Not only in India, but also all around the world. With the AI in place, with IoT in place, having automation, and what is going to be the end results? Where is this direction heading to? Of course, with the enhancement of technology, things are going to be better, positive, more efficient. But as we are progressing in about 2 to 3 years down the road, where is this heading to? What is going to be the outcome in terms of our food security, especially for our future generation? So if you're looking at Gen Zs, Gen Alpha, how do they perceive this topic? How do they understand, or to which level do they actually understand when you talk about sustainability, agri-tech? How much of awareness is given to each and one of them? Do they actually know how it all started off with the evolution from a traditional perspective to where we are today? So, as we are looking at generations by generation, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, to what level are they able to understand this? And as we are progressing, one very key concerning, or would say that one very important, crucial revolution is to be able to create that awareness and to make sure that we are able to reshape the entire agriculture. So, right from the very beginning until the very end, the back end as well as the front end, how is it working hand in hand? So, some of these challenges and opportunities may ring a bell to each and one of you, some may not. But along the way, we are able to see things as it progresses. Okay, so I have one very interesting question to get you to do a little bit of thinking here. Since we've looked at challenges, opportunities, academic and practical implications. So what is next? What is the outcome of it? Where is this heading to? So this question might get you going to a certain level where you are able to answer this question as well. So if you're able to answer this question, please share your answers in the meeting chat. And the question is all about what agri-tech innovations have the highest potential to improve climate resilience. It'll be really good to hear from each and one of you pertaining to the answers. So please share it on the meeting chat. Sorry? Okay, so the question is what agri-tech innovations have the highest potential to improve climate resilience? Anyone with your answers? Okay, one answer, one very good answer. Anyone else, please? Okay, interesting. Any more answers from the audience? Okay, no worries. We'll come back to this question later. Okay, I believe you need more time to think about the answers as well. All right, so let's move on. Okay, so we've come to the conclusion of today's topic. All right, so there are a few key points that we want to take it into consideration in terms of concluding today's topic. So again, the idea of making sure that the entire agriculture demand brings in a lot of positivity, better outcome, and in terms of also bringing in the alignment of economic innovation to make sure that at the end of the day, the word sustainability helps not only the people, but the entire planet. So, at the end of the day, everybody will still have to work together as a community to making sure that the entire synergy, the approach in terms of the sustainability and bringing in the innovation together. And this is where, before I end the session for today, I want you to do a little bit of reflection in terms of how is contemporary research trends in agri-tech expected to evolve in the next decade. So this is something where I want you to do a little bit of reflection to think about how things are going to change. As you can see today, we're looking at the 21st century and it's 2025, and not too soon, we will be able to look at 2026 matter of time. So think about this. Okay, think about this and do share with me your thoughts in the meeting chat as you are doing your reflection. Okay, so hearing from all of you would be really good. Okay, I'll give you a minute or two to think about this and to also share your answers in the meeting chat. Any answers for the audience? Data. Okay, good, very good answers coming in. Autonomous farming in a decade, absolutely. AI and big data. Okay, thank you very much for your answers. But before we end today's session, I want to think about how technology, farmers can bring in sustainability with the future enhancement, with autonomy, and with AI in place. What is there? What is the outcome of it? All right. So I would like to conclude my session today. Thank you very much to each and one of you. And if you do have any questions, you can always ask me. Thank you so much. Any questions from the audience? Okay, if there's no questions from the audience, thank you very much for the session today. I hope you learned something out of the session as well. Thank you so much for your time. Over to you, Dr. Subbu or Dr. Pavitra. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Ashwati.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, Dr. Ashwati. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Janitha, ma'am, for that enriching and thought-provoking session. Your insights into emerging agri-tech research have truly broadened our understanding of how innovation can drive sustainability into agriculture. Now, I request all the participants to turn on their camera for the photograph. screen for it coming. भेजा क्या हुआ Shit. एक second ना I am just recording my attendance. Thank you, participants. Now we will take a short break for a few minutes before we begin our next session. Kindly stay connected on Zoom. We will have a 5-minute break, short break. Thank you.